Hey there, it's Wednesday, which means it is time for another Ask Me Anything session where I am answering all your questions about writing a better book and the publishing industry. Let's get that housekeeping out of the way. If you haven't already and you're watching this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and go ahead and hit that like button while you're at it for the YouTube algorithm. I've been talking about it for a while now, but I have a free resource in the description below that I would love for you to check out. It is called My Story Self-Assessment. I designed it specifically for my YouTube viewers who have a work in progress and are struggling to figure out what they are succeeding at and where they need to improve their manuscript. I know that can be something that is so hard to determine on your own, so I made that worksheet to help you out. Go ahead and download it, and the best part is it's going to sign you up for my newsletter where I provide exclusive tips and insights that are not available anywhere on my channel, so you do not want to miss out on those. Keep the questions coming. We have some excellent ones on deck today, so without further ado, let's dive in. First question here, should a query letter be more professional/academic or more personal? For instance, in academic writing, you wouldn't use contractions and such. Should you write the letter so a bit more of your personality and voice comes through? The best word I would use to describe the query letter tone would be professional. You definitely want to come across that way because remember that a relationship with an agent is at the end of the day a business relationship. So you do want to make sure you come across as professional to them. However, being professional does not mean that you have to sound academic or overly formal. For instance, typically it is okay to address the agent by their first name in the salutation line. Additionally, it is completely fine to use contractions, especially when you are composing the plot blurb portion of the query letter. That section should have a bit more voice to it because you are describing your book and you do want that section to inspire intrigue for the literary agent. In being professional, you can still allow your personality to shine through. I see that in query letters all the time. The key is that you don't want to push it too far where it seems potentially unprofessional. For instance, you don't need to be cracking jokes in your query letter because those might not resonate as you intend when the literary agent is reading them. So I would say keep it professional, but don't feel like your language has to be stilted or overly formal. Okay, we have a two-part question here. Are there any downsides to querying a senior literary agent as opposed to a junior agent, especially if they work for the same respected agency? So first and foremost, when you are looking at a literary agency that you want to query and you are determining which agent you want to reach out to, you want to consider above all else which agent seems like the best match in terms of taste. That is by far the most important element to consider when you are querying, because ultimately a literary agent who recognizes your writing talent still isn't going to offer representation if you don't match the specific list that they are trying to build and the genres that they represent. Because remember that a literary agent has relationships with editors at publishing houses who also share their same taste and work within their same genres, so it is very, very important that you also fit into that. Otherwise, it's unlikely they're going to offer representation, even if your writing is really stellar. Now, in that case, it is possible that the agent could refer you to a different literary agent at the agency if they see your potential but don't see themselves as the right fit. However, ideally, you would be able to bypass that step and select the agent from the get-go who is the right match. I know that didn't answer your question exactly, so now I'll talk a little bit about junior versus senior agents. Say that you're looking at the profiles and both of them seem like they could be an equally good match. One is more senior and one is more junior. If the agency is highly reputable, either option is likely to be a good one. But something to consider with a more senior literary agent is that they are likely taking on fewer clients. That's because they already have a list of clients. Maybe they already have a list of best-selling clients who are taking up a lot of their time, providing them a lot of income, frankly, and therefore they are less inclined to take on new authors. These agents tend to not always be open to queries, so you'll definitely want to look out for when they are open to queries. Some very highly respected literary agents are always open to queries, but that doesn't mean that they personally are as open to taking on new clients as a junior agent is likely to be. So that is something to consider. They're just likely going to be more picky. However, if that agent seems like an amazing fit and is your dream agent, you should still go for it. Just understand the potential downside of them being extra picky. And remember that with a junior agent, they are typically very close with the senior agents and they still have that same level of support. So even though they might not have all of the same industry connections yet, they still have the support needed to get you a book deal in the case of them working at a very reputable agency. So now I want to go on to the second part of the question. Also, are literary agencies located outside of New York City at any disadvantage when it comes to selling books to publishing houses? It's true that the big 5 publishers are all based in New York, and that's why many literary agencies are also based in New York. When I was in New York and I worked at a literary agency and at a publishing house, there's frequently situations where literary agents and editors at publishing houses go out to lunches. They did it all the time. Of course, the pandemic kind of changed that. And that's where some deals could potentially be made. They would talk about their client's work, the editor would talk about what they're looking to publish, and they would just connect in that way and see if there is potentially a means of them doing a book deal together, either at the moment or even, down the line for the future. So with literary agents who are not based in the city, you do miss some of that. However, it is the literary agent's job to establish relationships with editors at publishing houses. Many of them do come into New York for certain periods, maybe once a month if they're closer, or once a quarter, and they set up meetings with editors. Of course, they can also have virtual meetings. I'm sure that has become more and more popular with the pandemic. So just because the literary agency is not based in New York does not necessarily mean they are less reputable, and it does not mean that they have a lower shot of getting a book deal. There are plenty of very reputable agencies not based in New York City. I would say the most common other location would be in California, because remember that a lot of agencies are also broader talent agencies, and so many are representing film deals as well, and even some represent actors and comedians if you're talking about the mega talent agencies. So it is pretty common to see agencies based in California in addition to New York. What I want you to look at is the reputability of the agency and the book deals they have done. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. Look up the agent on publishersmarketplace.com. You can sign up for a $10 one-day pass. Pop in the names of all the literary agents and the agencies you are considering. You are going to see exactly the book deals that they have done and what publishers they have done book deals with. That's going to illustrate to you if this is someone who has a reputation in the industry and is doing deals with publishers you would like to be published by. Here's another querying related question. We have a bit of a theme today. When agents say that if they're not interested, they're willing to pass your submission on to a different, more suitable agent in their agency, do they really do that, or do they simply hit the delete button and move on? So I referenced this actually inadvertently as part of my previous answer. This is absolutely something that agents do. I'm not sure if you're referring to the agent saying that on their website, that that's something that they do, or if they specifically responded to you saying that they are going to forward your query to another literary agent. In the latter case, if an agent has told you, I'm not the right fit for this project, but this might interest the other agent at my agency, I'm gonna forward it to them, I would definitely take their word for it. They wouldn't say that if they don't actually do that, because they have nothing to gain from telling you that they're gonna forward your query. They would just reject you outright. It's actually a very good and encouraging sign if they do wanna forward your query to one of their colleagues, because that means they are seeing the potential in it, they're just not the right match. So if you get one of those responses, it's actually very positive. That's all we had time for today. I hope you enjoyed this Ask Me Anything session. If you have a question that you would like answered, leave me a comment here. This is the cue I use when I'm going through and filming these videos, and I would love to hear any concerns that you have or anything that you'd like me to address. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and grab that free story self-assessment waiting for you in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.